Hello! Welcome to the Poe Cast. I'm Christopher.
And I'm Jonathan.
And today we're going to be reporting on the 2014 Quidditch World Cup being held in the middle of the Patagonian Desert. Yes, this is a very exciting feature that J.K. Rowling has put on Pottermore.com, which any of you Harry Potter fans out there that don't know about Pottermore, you need to
get on it.
You need to get on it. It is amazing. And I might later on tell my little story about how I actually got my Hogwarts letter, which is awesome. Okay, Quidditch World Cup. This has been delightful. That we not only have had the real world World Cup with football or soccer. Where exactly is it being held? I don't remember.
The real World Cup?
Yeah.
Aren't there games like all over the world? Or
I don't know
how this works at all. Let's just pause the podcast, look it up, and then talk about it.
Okay, anyway, so yeah, we're not real world sports fans, but we sure are fictional sports fans.
Yes, we are.
All right. So, we are going to go through and talk about all the matches in the 2014 Quidditch World Cup. The most interesting thing about this year's Quidditch World Cup is that Victor Krum has come back for, the first time in, 10, 20 years.
Yes. I am really excited that Victor Krum is playing again. He has, despite all of the, what is the word I'm thinking of?
What are you thinking?
Despite all of the prejudices against him because he has aged a bit, he is doing an amazing job at being a seeker at age 32.
Yes, he, back in 1994, that World Cup, which was being held. Where was that being held? Was that England?
I think
it was in England.
Yes.
Yeah. The 1994 Quidditch World Cup, of course, is the one that everybody knows and loves from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And that actually was the World Cup that introduced 18-year-old Victor Krum to the world as an exceptional seeker. Krum has come out of retirement, is 32 now, and is doing just as amazingly as he did back, 14, 15 years ago. So, or was it 20 years ago?
Yes, it was 20 years ago.
I'm confused. How old is he?
Wait.
That math doesn't make sense. Hang on.
And he's 32?
What's going on
20
here?
years ago, which means that he would have been 12 when he played when he was 18.
Something's wrong here. We need to look this up. We're confused.
What?
38. He's 38. Not.
So the math does make sense.
So the math makes sense. We are the ones who don't know what we're talking about. We just need to trust Ginny Potter and J.K. Rowling. Okay. All right. Ginny Potter is currently working for the Daily Prophet as their Quidditch correspondent. She is in the Patagonian Desert right now, and has been writing all of the articles that have been published in the Daily Prophet. For all of you fans, back to the real world, all of you fans can find all of this in the Daily Prophet office in the Diagon Alley section at Pottermore.com. And you really should read it because there's some very funny moments.
Yes.
So, starting off on the 12th of April, there was some kerfluffle. And it makes me question the sanity of some of the managers for these Quidditch teams. Because the Quidditch World Cup begins with a giant display of all of the magical creature mascots of all the teams. And this year, they went overboard.
Yes.
They went way overboard. They put a Fijian Dukuwaka, which is a shark man shapeshifter, in with a Norwegian giant sea serpent, the Selma. Why?
I don't know. The
I
two
just
got
don't
into a huge fight, and there was a lot of collateral damage.
There was a lot of injuries, like 300 injuries, which it's not just those two creatures fighting. The Nigerians brought vampiric spindle-legged creatures called Sasabonsamas, and the Haitians, as their mascot, brought Inferi.
Not a very smart idea.
I don't understand.
Not a very smart idea.
I mean, I understand that the Haitians and that sort of,
the sort of
the
zombie,
Caribbean,
undead,
that makes a lot of
thing.
Sense.
But
why bring them
to an international event?
An international event with thousands of people? I don't understand.
If
anyway,
not millions of people.
Yeah, there are at least 100,000 people out there in the middle of the desert. The teams competing this year were the Ivory Coast, Norway, Bulgaria, New Zealand, Japan, Poland, Fiji, Nigeria, Jamaica, the USA, which was surprising. The USA is not known for its Quidditch prowess, but so far they've done very well this year.
Yes.
Chad, Liechtenstein, Brazil, Haiti, Germany, and Wales. My personal favorite team, just behind the English team.
They have a really cool flag, too. The
Wales
and green.
Wales has an
dragon.
awesome flag, not whatever I said. So, after the debacle that started off this year's World Cup, Norway versus the Ivory Coast was the first match. Norway won by a 240-point majority. Ivory Coast scoring only 10 goals for 100 points. Yeah, quick game. There was the crowd were throwing a whole bunch of jinxes at Norwegian chaser Lars Ludevachem. I'm mispronouncing all these foreign words. It's okay. But yeah, I guess none of the spells connected because, Ivory Coast wasn't disqualified, but they were beaten. So Norway continues on.
Yes.
Next match was Nigeria versus Fiji. This was a little bit of a disappointment for Fiji.
Yes. Their seeker caught the snitch when they only had 10 points, whereas Nigeria had 400 points.
400 points.
Yes.
They scored 40 goals to Fiji's 1, and then the Fijian seeker caught the snitch.
And although that was done by Victor Crumb back in the 94 match,
what he did was he caught the snitch because he knew his team was going to lose, and he made it so that they lost only by like 1 or 2
points.
Like 10
1
points.
point, 1 goal.
1 goal difference.
Yes.
So, and that, of course, is a very acceptable strategy to reduce the amount that you lose by. But this just doesn't make any sense. The Fijian manager and trainer, Hector Bolobolo, only comment after the match was, "I'm going to kill him."
Yes, and the Seeker does not have a very good reputation at all. Even before this match, he was viewed as pretty arrogant. So, this match does not help at all.
Yeah. Brazil versus Haiti. This was interesting.
This was kind of amusing.
This was interesting. So, it was 190. Haiti got disqualified because of an illegal capture of the snitch.
This is one of the
What
oldest
position?
rules
What
of
position
Quidditch.
was he playing?
I think it was a chaser.
Was he? No, he's a beater.
Oh, a beater. Okay,
Jean-Baptiste Blanqueur. So, perhaps payback for bringing Inferi along.
Yeah.
The snitch, by some, I think a bludger was involved. The snitch flew up one of the Haitian beater's sleeves.
Yes, after he mishit 2 bludgers hitting
his own seeker.
Yes, hitting his own
seeker. At that point, I think he, after making so many mistakes, just lost it.
Yeah.
Wrestled the snitch out of his sleeve and then held it up in like proof of why he like bashed his own seeker in the face with the bludger. Of course, he shouldn't have done that. He should have just gotten it out of his sleeves and not touched it.
He is now in hiding, so...
Yeah, currently hiding in an undisclosed location.
Oh.
16th of May. USA versus Jamaica. 240 points to 230 points. There was controversy. The Jamaican keeper toppled to the ground right, like, seconds before the U.S. seeker caught the snitch. Very narrow victory. The timing was
suspicious.
Odd. But what they found out was the Jamaican keeper actually was bitten by those weird Nigerian vampire mascots. Bitten by the Nigerian vampires, who, like many other things, should have been there at all. That was why the keeper collapsed, and the USA gets to continue onward. So, very, very narrow, but I think, at least at this point, they deserved it. Mm-hmm. 17th of May. Chad versus Liechtenstein. This was an epic match. 3-day-long match. At the end of the first day, Chad was narrowly in the lead with 140 points to Liechtenstein's 120. Liechtenstein chaser Willie Wenzel took 2 bludgers to the head in the early stage of the game, but still managed to score a third of the goals from a distance of 60 yards. This was a fun match.
He scored one of his goals from a distance of 60 yards.
Second day, Liechtenstein is 10 points ahead with 260 to Chad's 250. The players are starting to get really, really tired. Chadian seeker Jacques Miskin's left eyebrow, the snitch was hovering there for about 5 minutes before he finally noticed it, and he still couldn't grab it. Liechtenstein chaser Otmar Frick, we believe he fell asleep on his broom shortly before play.
That is rather dangerous. But
yeah.
They do have good refs in the World Cup, so
yes.
Even if he did fall off of his broom, he would have been caught.
Well, just like the Jamaican keeper.
Yes.
Third day, the match finally comes to a close with Liechtenstein catching the snitch, just inches ahead of the Chadian seeker. Both teams wept and embraced as they finally reached solid ground, and they are all now receiving medical treatment.
And 3 days, that is a long time to be awake.
Long.
I mean, once I stayed overnight at my work, and I just stayed up all night watching movies and working, and by the next day, I was extremely slap happy. And I also could not wait for everyone to get up so then I could start making some coffee. Because I was extremely tired.
So, 20th of May, Bulgaria versus New Zealand. Again, there was... I think that New Zealand's loss had a lot to do with some of the prejudice that's being shown against Bulgaria because of Crum's reemergence from retirement. Crum has received a lot of criticism for taking the place of what potentially could have been a younger and more up-and-coming player. But one of the New Zealand chasers slammed into a Bulgarian chaser, and it was determined by the referees that the New Zealand player deliberately crashed into the Bulgarian player, so he was sent off the court. This helped Bulgaria a lot, but the real victory was won by Victor Krum, who caught the snitch just ahead of the 21-year-old Nagapo Polnica, and it's really showing that Bulgaria is carrying their weight here.
Yes, Bulgaria is still a very good team.
Follow all the action of the Quidditch World Cup at Pottermore.com in the daily profit offices in the Diagon Alley South Side. So for the Poe Cast, I'm Christopher.
And I'm Jonathan.
And thank you for listening.